Phase 1 is Explore. This is when everyone looks at new game cards and keeps some of them in their hand, either for money or for potential outplays. The basic action, which everybody does, is you put your hand aside, you draw 2 cards from the draw pile, put one of them in your hand, discard the other. If you're a player who chose the Explore phase, you'll have a bonus in this phase. Either you chose the Explore +1/+1 bonus, which lets you look at one more card and keep one more card, so you're keeping 2 out of 3 cards, or you chose Explore +5, which lets you look at 5 more cards but not keep any more, so you're keeping 1 out of 7. Better selection, but you don't get any extra money. I recommend not choosing Explore +5 until you're much more familiar with the cards. Phase 2 is Develop. This is when everyone may, if they wish, put out one development into their tableau. Remember, you can't have 2 developments with the same name in the same tableau, so the development you put out can't match one you already have. Just like choosing action cards, selecting your development is done secretly and simultaneously. Everybody who wants to puts out a development card face down, then when everyone is ready, everyone who put out a card turns it over. You don't have to figure out your payment until after everyone reveals their development. The bonus for choosing Develop is that you get a 1-unit discount on your purchase price. Phase 3 is Settle. This is when everyone may, if they wish, put out one world into their tableau. All worlds have unique names, so you don't have to worry about duplicate worlds like you do with developments. This is also secret and simultaneous. Everyone who is settling puts out a card face down, everyone reveals, then everyone pays. Note that if you're putting out a world with a cost, black number, then you pay money. But if you're conquering a military world, white number with red outline, you just demonstrate that you have enough military and pay nothing. Because, in part, of this mechanism of conquering worlds without paying, the bonus for choosing Settle isn't a discount, but it's more like a rebate. If you chose Settle, you draw 1 card, but only after you've put out and paid for a world. If, for some strange reason, you chose Settle and don't put out a world, then you don't get the rebate. Sorry. Phase 4 is Consume. Unlike Develop or Settle, consumption is mandatory. You must use all of your consume powers, but you can choose what order you use them in. In most cases, the order you choose isn't going to make a difference. If you chose the Consume Trade action card before you do your regular consume, you get a bonus. You must sell 1 good for cards at the trade prices before your regular consume phase, even if you don't want to anymore because you've changed your mind. There are trade powers that can modify the trade prices, and they're listed on the cards next to the little $sign, between the 3 and the 4. If you didn't choose the Consume Trade action card, ignore these powers. You can't use them. Anyway, regardless of whether you chose trade or not, everyone then uses all their consume powers, which tends to turn goods into points. The most common consume power looks like this, which takes any good from anywhere in your tableau and turns it into a VP chip. Some other consume powers give rewards other than chips. Some give extra chips, and some consume specific goods. If you've played the Consume 2x action card, you can double all the chips you get this phase, but you don't double anything else, like cards. In general, when you're starting out, you'll often find yourself with goods but no consume powers, or you'll have consume powers but no goods. In both cases, the consume phase will not be very useful in getting those victory point chips, although you can get money by choosing Consume Trade if you have goods. In any case, if you can get consume powers and goods going at the same time, you can find it a fine way to earn those victory point chips. The last phase, Phase 5, is Produce. This phase is also mandatory, but is usually pretty automatic. Any production world that doesn't already have a good on it produces a good. Sometimes a production world will give a good and cards. You only get the cards if you got the good. If there already was a good on it, too bad, you don't get the cards. If you chose the Produce phase, your bonus is that one of your windfall worlds, just one of your windfall worlds, that doesn't already have a good, produces a good. This isn't the only way you can get a windfall world to produce, but it's one of the most common ways for it to happen. There are also other cards in the deck that give you card draws into your hand during Produce. At the end of each round, in other words, after all the phases, there are 2 things to check. First, If anyone has more than 10 game cards in their hand, the action cards don't count, they discard cards, their choice, until they are down to 10. This is to stop people from hoarding all the cards. Second, check to see if the game is over. The game is over if someone has 12 or more face-up cards, developments, or worlds in their tableau. The goods don't count, by the way. Or if all the VP chips set aside at the beginning of the game, which was 12 per player, are gone. Neither of these limits is an actual in-game limit. You can have more than 12 cards in your tableau, and a player could get more VP chips than 12 per player set aside at the beginning of the game. This is why we have the 10 denomination chips. It's just that the total number of chips, or the individual number of cards in the tableau, is a threshold for determining if the game ends. And that's it. You should now know enough to play your first game of Race for the Galaxy.